Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into one of the most compelling and controversial topics of our time, UFOs, or as they're now officially called, Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena, UAPs. We're not just talking about grainy photos or blurry videos. We're exploring the most credible, most baffling, and dare I say, the strongest evidence ever presented. So, what constitutes the strongest evidence? For me, it's a combination of factors. Multiple credible witnesses, often with military or aviation backgrounds. High-quality sensor data from advanced equipment, and official acknowledgement from government bodies. When all these elements come together, you get a case that's incredibly difficult to dismiss. Let's start with what is arguably the most famous modern case, the 2004 USS Nimitz Tic Tac incident. Picture this. Off the coast of San Diego, the most advanced naval carrier strike group in the world is conducting training exercises. Suddenly, their state-of-the-art radar system, the SPY-1, starts picking up multiple anomalous aerial vehicles. These objects were dropping from an altitude of over 80,000 feet down to 20,000 feet in less than a second, a feat of acceleration that defies our known physics. The Navy scrambled FA-18 Super Hornet fighter jets to intercept. What the pilot saw was astounding. Commander David Fravor, a highly respected Top Gun graduate, described a smooth, white, oblong object about 40 feet long with no wings, no rotors, and no visible propulsion system. It was hovering erratically just above the churning water. As Fravor descended to get a closer look, the object, which they nicknamed the Tic Tac, mirrored his movement, then accelerated at a speed that left the seasoned pilot absolutely speechless. It just vanished. Seconds later, the USS Princeton reacquired the object on its radar. But here's the kicker. It was now 60 miles away. This instantaneous travel is what makes the case so profound. This wasn't just a visual sighting. It was backed by multiple radar systems, and infrared video was captured by another jet later that day. We've all seen that FLIR footage. This trifecta of evidence, highly credible eyewitness testimony, multiple sensor data, and official video release makes the Nimitz encounter a cornerstone of modern UAP discussion. But the Nimitz incident isn't a one-off. Let's jump forward to 2015 off the east coast of the United States. Pilots from the USS Theodore Roosevelt Carrier Strike Group began having near-daily encounters with UAPs. These weren't just fleeting glimpses. These objects were flying in restricted military airspace for hours at a time. Lieutenant Ryan Graves, another FA-18 pilot, described them as dark cubes inside clear spheres. He reported that these objects could remain stationary in hurricane-force winds and then accelerate to hypersonic speeds. What's really significant here is the frequency and the risk. Graves stated that his squadron was seeing these things every single day for at least a couple of years. He even mentioned a near-miss incident, where a UAP flew directly between two fighter jets that were flying in formation. Think about the implications for flight safety and national security. These encounters led to the creation of formal reporting procedures within the Navy, a huge step toward taking this phenomenon seriously. The videos from these encounters, nicknamed Gimbal and Go Fast, were eventually declassified and released by the Pentagon along with the FLIR video from the Nimitz case. In the Gimbal video, you can hear the pilot's genuine astonishment. One exclaims, "Look at that thing, dude, it's rotating." This raw, unfiltered reaction from trained observers adds a powerful layer of authenticity. These aren't people who are easily spooked. They are trained to identify aircraft, and they were utterly baffled. Now, let's go back in time, long before advanced radar and infrared cameras. The Rendlesham Forest incident in 1980 is often called Britain's Roswell. Over 3 consecutive nights in December, US Air Force personnel stationed at RAF Bentwaters and RAF Woodbridge in Suffolk, England, witnessed a series of unexplained lights and the apparent landing of a triangular craft in the forest. The key figure here is Lieutenant Colonel Charles Holt, the deputy base commander at the time. On the third night, Holt himself led a patrol into the forest to investigate. He carried a microcassette recorder, documenting the events in real time. We can still listen to this audio today. You can hear the panic and confusion in his voice and the voices of his men as they describe a bright, pulsating light that dripped what appeared to be molten metal. Holt and his team took radiation readings at the alleged landing site, which were significantly higher than the surrounding area. They also found 3 distinct impressions in the ground, forming a perfect triangle. Later, the object was seen again, sending down beams of light near the base's weapons storage area, a highly sensitive location. The fact that a high-ranking officer like Holt filed an official memo known as the Holt Memo detailing these events gives the case immense credibility. We have multiple high-ranking military witnesses, physical trace evidence, and an official report. It remains one of the best documented UFO cases in history. Another compelling piece of evidence comes from the Phoenix Lights incident in 1997. Thousands of people across Arizona, including the then governor, Fife Symington, witnessed a massive V-shaped craft gliding silently over the state. Symington, a former Air Force pilot, initially mocked the event at a press conference to quell public panic. However, a decade later, he came forward and admitted he had seen it himself and was convinced it was otherworldly. He described it as being of a huge, delta-shaped nature, navigating the skies over Squaw Peak. He said, "I'm a pilot, and I know just about every machine that flies. It was bigger than anything that I've ever seen." The sheer number of witnesses from all walks of life, combined with video and photographic evidence, makes the Phoenix Lights a landmark mass sighting event. Dismissing thousands of individual testimonies that all describe a similar, bizarre object is simply not a tenable position. So, we have fighter pilots engaging with physics-defying craft, military bases experiencing close encounters with landed objects, and entire cities witnessing silent, massive objects overhead. What ties all this together? In recent years, the biggest development has been the shift in official government posture. For decades, the subject was shrouded in stigma and ridicule. Now we have the Pentagon's UAP task force, which became the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or ARO. We've had congressional hearings where intelligence officials like David Grush have made extraordinary claims under oath about covert retrieval programs for non-human craft. The 2021 preliminary assessment on UAPs from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence was a watershed moment. It analyzed 144 reports from US government sources. Of those, 143 remained unexplained. The report explicitly stated that the phenomena probably lack a single explanation, and that some UAPs appeared to remain stationary in winds aloft, move against the wind, maneuver abruptly, or move at considerable speed without discernible means of propulsion. This is the US government officially admitting that there are things in our skies that we cannot identify and that behave in ways we cannot explain. This official acknowledgement is perhaps the strongest piece of evidence of all. It validates the experiences of countless witnesses over the decades, from Commander Fravor to Colonel Holt to the citizens of Phoenix. It's no longer a question of if these things are real. The data and the official reports confirm they are. The question now is, what are they? Are they advanced secret drones from a foreign adversary? Are they natural atmospheric phenomena we don't yet understand? Or are they something else entirely? The adversary explanation struggles to account for the decades of sightings and the reported flight characteristics that seem to be generations ahead of any known technology. The natural phenomena explanation falls short when faced with structured craft, intelligent maneuvering, and responses to our own military assets. This brings us to the most profound and unsettling possibility: the extraterrestrial or non-human intelligence hypothesis. While it remains a hypothesis, the evidence we've discussed makes it a rational consideration, not a fringe belief. The data is pushing us to consider possibilities that were once the exclusive domain of science fiction. The conversation has changed. It's moved from the fringes to the halls of Congress and the briefing rooms of the Pentagon. The strongest evidence isn't just one video or one eyewitness, it's the cumulative, overwhelming weight of credible testimony, multi-sensor data, physical traces, and official government acknowledgement that something extraordinary is happening in our skies. The puzzle pieces are on the table, and while the full picture is still unclear, the outline is starting to take a very definite and very strange shape. What do you think is the most compelling case? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. The search for answers is just beginning, and it's a conversation we all need to be a part of. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next exploration into the unknown. See you next time.